So I recently worked on a Notion project where the goal was to automate the process of capturing a lead's information on a website form, creating a new record for it in Notion database, and then notifying both the lead as well as the admin of the database via email. I'll first show you the automation in action, and then I'll walk you through the steps of how I built it. So here we have the lead capture form on the client's website. I'm going to go ahead and fill this out with some data. This is a lead form for a personal training program, so it has some questions related to fitness experience, fitness level, and so on. Now, once I go ahead and submit the form, we should see a new record created in Notion right away, as you can see here, with all the information I submitted on the form. And then if we go to the email inbox of the lead, this is the email they received. So we're basically thanking them for their interest in the personal training program, and then letting them know that we will get back to them soon. And then if we go to the inbox of the admin, or in other words, the personal trainer, this is the email they receive with all the information that the lead has submitted on the form. So this is the automation in action. Now let me show you the process I used to build it. The first step was creating the lead capture form on the client's website. They already had like a very basic contact form, but the problem with that form was that it was very difficult to edit. Let's say they wanted to add a new field to capture more information from the lead. They actually required technical resources because the form was built into the website. So they needed someone to write code in order to make changes to the form. And that was a very inefficient process. So what we ended up doing is using a no-code form builder called Tally in order to create the form. And the great thing about this tool is that it makes it super easy, to create and manage forms. Like you can very easily go in here and add a new field to your form, and as soon as you make the change, it will be live, and it will be the change will be visible on the website. Also, the great thing is that Tally forms can be embedded on pretty much any website, so it was very easy to integrate the form and add it to the client's website. Now, once the lead submits the form, the next goal was to get the data from the form response to the Notion database. And in order to achieve this, I built an automation using make.com. If you don't know what make.com is, it's basically a workflow automation builder. As you can see here, this is the scenario for the automation. So the scenario starts off with a Tally module, which monitors for new form responses. In order to set up this module, you simply need to connect your Tally account, create a new webhook, right? So a webhook is basically tied to a specific form that you select, and it basically creates a webhook integration. So as soon as the form is submitted, the data is sent to the webhook, and in turn, this module then receives the data because it's connected to that webhook. Now, once the data is retrieved by this module, the goal is to then use that data to create a new record or a new database item on this Notion database here, right? So a new record is created, and each data point from the form gets added to each respective column on this database. Now, if we click on the module configuration window here, the first thing I'm doing is I'm selecting which database I want to add a new record to. And I do this by entering the database ID. Now, the database ID you can retrieve by opening the database in full page view in Notion and getting this first identifier from the URL. That's your database ID. You enter it here, and then you will get a full list of all the fields in your database. And then in each one of these fields, you can add your data. Now, Make allows you to add data from previous modules in your scenario. So as you can see here, I have this entire list of data elements that I'm able to retrieve from this module, right? So these are basically my form fields that contain the data that was retrieved after the form has been submitted. So for the full name, I'm adding the first and the last name side by side in order to form the full name. Then for fitness goal, the fitness goal is actually, let me show you here on the form. Each one of these fields that have a drop-down menu, the data format of the field is an array. An array is basically like a list of values. So even though the user is selecting one item, the data format is a list, right? But the list contains only one value. And the goal here is to retrieve the first value in the list, because that's basically the only value in the list, and that's what we want. So in order to do that, you need to use the get function. The get function, you can get from this, where is it? So under general functions, get, right? And then you want to do get the field name, right? So in this case, it was a fitness goal. And then you add this semicolon, and then you have a number 1 after it in order to indicate that you want to get the first item in the list. Then for budget, this is a little bit more complex. So with this one, so with budget, and this is also the case with current fitness level and fitness experience, as you can see, these options have the option name, then they have a colon, and then they have a short description of the option name, right? In order to help the lead understand what we're talking about. Now, in my Notion database here, I don't want to have the option name and then the full description. I just want to have the option name as the value of the field. So in order to achieve that, I need to cut out the part after the colon. And this is done using a split function. But in order to apply a split function, I first need to get the first item in the list, because this is a drop-down field, therefore we have a list. So I'm getting the first item, and then I'm wrapping this function into with a split function. And the split function allows me to basically split the value, right, at a specific point. And the specific point I'm choosing is the colon. So here you can see that split, and I'm using the colon as the split point. And then what a split function does, it separates the two parts, and then the result data format is an array. It's a list. It's a list that contains the first part and the second part. And in order to get the first part of the split result, I need to use the get function once again. So I'm wrapping the whole thing into a get function, and I'm getting the first part of the result. So this is actually quite complex, but I hope that makes sense. It's best to actually try it out in order to understand how it works. For phone, I'm just getting the phone number. Age, I'm just getting the age field. And then for time commitment, once again, this is an array, so I'm getting the first item. For email, I'm getting email, current weight, and then I'm doing this complex get, split, get function combination here for current fitness level and also for fitness experience, because each one of these fields have this format of option and then option description. So I'm only interested in the option name. So that's the second module, definitely the most complex module in the scenario. And then for notifying the lead, I'm just adding the email address of the lead as the to address. Have my subject line, which is just some static text, and then in my content here, I have hi, and then the value of the first name from the form response. Pretty simple there. And then to notify the admin, I have the admin's email address, static value, and then in the response, I'm just getting pretty much all the data from the tally module. Here I'm not performing any splits or anything because it doesn't really matter. It's just an email, so I don't care if I'm getting like both the option as well as the option description. That's totally fine. And yeah, that's how this scenario has been built. Now, I hope you found this useful. If you would like me to help you get this solution implemented or automate any other process with Notion, click the link below this video to learn more about my services. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to help you. And with that said, I'll see you on the next one.